Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the Pagani Huayra BC at max in multiplayer in Asphalt 9. Some of you were pretty observant and caught this in my April Fool's video, so I've completely made golden the top speed and the acceleration with a couple of epics on Nitro as well. But before we get into the races, I'm excited to announce that I will be your co-host in the ESL Mobile Open North America Spring 2021 season for the Asphalt 9 finals, returning with Inverum from previous seasons. Hundreds of thousands of players in the North American division of the newly expanded ESL Mobile Open are battling it out to see who will make it to the finals. Qualifiers are happening as we speak, so if you would like a chance to join the largest Asphalt 9 esports program, this is the event for you. The car being used this season is the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sport, one of the most agile higher-end C-Class cars. Every week I will be uploading a recap of the last week's qualifier, showcasing some of the best moments and keeping you up to date with everything you need to know about this season's Asphalt 9 Mobile Open. I'll go over the track for the week, analyze some of the top times made in that qualifier, and break down the best run from each platform. Be sure to tune in the coming week when I go over the first qualifier, which took place on the Cave in Scotland. And be sure to mark your calendars for Sunday, May 16th for the broadcast of the final rounds. So now let's get into our very first race in my newly maxed Pagani Huayra BC. I figured this was also a pretty good time to upload this video because currently we have an event going on for the Pagani Imola, which is pretty much like the slightly buffed Huayra BC, which is probably going to become the new A-Class king. The Imola, not the BC. The BC was pretty much a king of the class for a long time, and it still is one of the best cars in the class. Unfortunately, you cannot use it in the A-Class Elite events anymore, but it is still absolutely amazing in multiplayer. I'm sure you can even do well in Legend League with this car. I was actually playing in the recent season for the last update, which also had cars like the Spark Owl and other Huayras and the Huracan, and we actually do see one or two Sparks against us later in this video, so that should be interesting. In this first race, we're facing a couple of other Huayras as well as 3 Huracans, but our main competition, or what you might think of as our main competition, is actually a Fenner Super Sport. But the Fenner is not the car that is back there behind me. That is another Huayra BC, which I'm pretty sure is completely maxed. He's at 4274, whereas I'm at 4174, so pretty much exactly 100 rank below fully golden. But honestly, the nitro and handling are so good already that if you're able to completely max out top speed and acceleration, you're really not going to be able to tell much difference between you and the fully golden cars, and you will save a ton on import parts. In this race, we're facing 2 Fenners, as well as an Aventador J, a Porsche 918, and a couple of other Huayras. I have to say, this was a pretty fun season because most of the cars in it were quite well matched. It may seem like cars like the Zenvo and the Fenner are just way better than cars like the Huayra and the 918 and things like that, but you guys should remember a while back there was that season where we had the Tech Rules and then the Fenner. And a lot of people, or most people, myself included, expected the Fenner to just be the absolute king there, but no, I mean, the Tech Rolls and the Fenner traded blows a lot of the time. And the same thing is kind of happening in this season as well. I was able to get into first place by taking the left route, even though I went a bit high and unfortunately did not have much nitro for this turn, so I had to drift. And then the Fenner, who probably had more nitro, was able to pass me with the shockwave and come in just ahead of me. Now in this next race, we're on San Francisco, facing a couple more of the big boys, namely a Zenvo TS1 and an Spark Owl driven by another Legions United member, Fury Taylor. And his Spark was over 4,800 rank, which is kind of crazy, over 700 above me and pretty much anybody else in the race, so we'll have to see how that goes. So I mentioned the Pagani Imola special event earlier in this video. If you're curious as to how that car performs at max, I do have a video up about that on my channel where you can see how it is. It is definitely going to be one of the new kings of Class A, and I'm very surprised I did not wreck there, and the Imola might actually be the new overall king of Class A. It has the second fastest speed in the class. It's faster than the 570S, and it is only second to the GT by Citroën. But it has better acceleration, nitro, and handling than both the GT by Citroën and the 570S, and it drives pretty much like this Huayra. It's basically like the Huayra BC, but 10 miles per hour faster. And if you know anything about the Huayra BC, well, if you're watching this video, you probably do. you know the Imola is going to be pretty good too. And I think it's actually an achievable car. I'm definitely going to be trying to go for it. I know that in order to get the maximum amount of blueprints from the event, you have to have some gold cars, which I probably don't have, but I've saved up around 9,000 tokens. I've been waiting for a car that's really good, that's achievable without spending money, and this seems to be the one for me at this point. So finally, I will have more than 101 cars, which I have been at for basically an entire update now. But that doesn't really bother me. I mean, I've said this before, but I'd much rather save and spend a lot all on one car than spend little bits here and there on cars that aren't so good that I might not end up getting, and then not have enough when something really good comes along. That's kind of my philosophy with spending money in real life too. Like, I hate spending money on little consumable items and stuff like that. I'd much rather wait and just save for a long time and then buy something that I really want or really need that I would otherwise not be able to get if I'd been spending here and there on a bunch of little things. I think that might be the first time I talked about such things on YouTube. Anyway, we're coming up toward the end of this race here, and this race was absolutely chock full of Huracans. There are 4 of them in this race. One of them is the one that was directly behind me. He took the long way though, and that allowed me to gain a pretty big lead on him relatively to what I would have had otherwise, and so I'm able to take the victory in this race. Now, multiplayer in Asphalt 8 has recently undergone a pretty big change. I haven't tried it out yet personally, but I have seen a video or two about it. And it seems like they're pretty much trying to make Asphalt 8 multiplayer very similar to Asphalt 9. Because now when you go into multiplayer in that game, you're greeted with the same kind of banner for multiplayer like we have in Asphalt 9. I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing multiple seasons. They took away the ability to vote for laps and tracks at the beginning of the races. But thankfully, even with all those changes, car matchmaking in Asphalt 8 multiplayer is still based on the rank of the car and not based on player rating like it is in Asphalt 9. And I really hope it stays that way and they don't change that too in a later update, because I remember a while back they did try that for one update and then they reverted it after a bunch of backlash to it, because I just think Asphalt 8 works so much better with a car rank-based multiplayer matchmaking system. It was even better when cars had different upgrade rank percentages and you could actually multiplayer tune things, but if they were to make it solely based on player rating rather than car rank, I think that Asphalt 8 would lose even more people, because then it would just be completely different than what it used to be. Asphalt 8's dynamics are just quite a bit different than Asphalt 9's in some areas, and so while this more player rating based matchmaking system makes more sense in Asphalt 9, I think, in Asphalt 8 I don't think it would be as good. Also, there's the issue of only being able to drive S-Class cars in Elite League and A-Class cars in, what's the one below it, Champion League and above, things like that. I mean, that's also being pulled over from Asphalt 9. That's something that I don't really agree with in Asphalt 8 either, unless they make it so that Elite League is easier to get to. Because the problem that I just thought of instantly when I heard that that was going to happen was that hardly anyone ever gets to Elite League. If they made it easier to get to Elite League, I'd be more okay with that change, but otherwise, I'm not going to be able to test S-Class cars in Asphalt 8 again, because only boosters were pretty much ever able to get to Elite League before, unless you just played all the time. Also, they made it so that you can only play 4 races in multiplayer every 11 hours, so that's fun. I'm not a big fan of the Asphalt 8 multiplayer update, and judging by the comments on Asphalt's Instagram post about it, I don't think most people are either, so I do hope they take that into consideration. Now it's time for my general review about the Huayra BC. Great nitro drifting and handling, decent speed and acceleration, and overall just a very fun car to drive and very good for multiplayer. Thank you all for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!